This is the month of March. And earlier this month, Donald Trump was at a campaign rally in Ohio, campaigning for Mr. Bernie Moreno. Now, as usual, Donald Trump is always coming up with something outrageous, no matter where he go. Now, at this rally, Donald Trump said that if he's not elected president during this next election, that there's going to be a bloodbath in this country. So here we go again with Donald Trump and this mess. Now, one other thing that really got to me was that when Donald Trump came out on that stage to give his little campaign speech, he stood at attention and saluted the American flag as they played a recording of the national anthem being sung by what they call the prisoner choir. The prisoner choir consists of those charged and convicted of attacking the U.S. Capitol on January 6th and also attacking the Capitol Police that day. Those that were charged and convicted of running that attack on the U.S. Capitol and the Capitol Police, as they used whatever they could get their hands on or whatever they brought with them to include the American flag on flagstaffs. When Donald Trump stood there and saluted that American flag, while the charged and convicted prisoners sang the national anthem, I almost wanted to throw up. Now, Donald Trump refers to those folks as patriots and heroes, while he refers to military members that get captured during wartime or even lose their life as losers and suckers. I want to share a couple things with you. I don't know if any of y'all have heard of the Green Ramp disaster. This is the month that the Green Ramp disaster happened 30 years ago. It was on March 23rd, 1994. I was stationed at Pope Air Force Base during that time when that incident occurred. I know there's some of you out there that are on my social media account that were there also. So if I say anything that may be incorrect, you can correct me. But briefly, on that day at Pope Air Force Base, it was pretty busy. We had a lot of aircraft in the air. We had A-10 Thunderbolts, or Warthogs as they call them. We had the F-16 Falcons. We had C-130 transports in the air. We had some 141 cargo Starlift aircraft. And there were approximately 500 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne, Fort Bragg, staging on the Green Ramp, getting ready to go out and do some, do what they do, practice parachuting out of airplanes. But on that day, there was a C-130 transport and an F-16 Fighting Falcon attempting to land at the same time. The pilot of that F-16 fighter, they were practicing a flame-out procedure. when the F-16 collided with the C-130 aircraft. There were two pilots in the F-16. The pilot did try to recover that aircraft by putting it in afterburner, and that plane started to disintegrate, showering debris down on the Pope Air Force below. They were like 300 feet off the ground. The C-130 that got hit by the F-16, it continued on, and they assessed the damages to see if they could safely land, which they did eventually make it back to Pope Air Force Base and land. But that F-16, after the pilots ejected, it continued flying, and it crashed into the green ramp, where those approximately 500 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne, Fort Bragg, were staging to get on those aircraft and go out to the jump zone. 23 soldiers were killed that day from the impact and the fireball that was made by that F-16 when it crashed into the ramp. Over 80-some soldiers were injured. One soldier died almost a year later from his injuries. Now, from the soldiers that died that day on March 23rd, 1994, I don't recall anybody referring to, up until this day, any of those soldiers as losers or suckers. December 1985, the Gander Newfoundland aircraft crash. In 1985, the United States Army had troops deployed to Egypt, the Sinai Peninsula, as a multinational peacekeeping force. It consisted of members from the 101st Airborne, the 502nd. They had some members from the Forces Command as part of that group. Now, in December of that year, they were there for about 6 months. But in December, trying to get back early for the Christmas holidays, they loaded up on a Douglas DC-8 at Cairo International Airport with a final destination at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Flight 1285 Romeo took off from Cairo International Airport at 8:35 p.m. That trip had 3 stops, one in West Germany to refuel and one in Canada, in Newfoundland, Canada, to refuel. Final destination would be Fort Campbell, Kentucky. That flight 1285 Romeo took off from Cairo, Egypt at 8:35 p.m. It landed in Cologne, West Germany at 1:21 a.m. for a refueling stop. Passengers got off just for about an hour while they refueled and did a checkover of the aircraft. At 1:21 a.m., the plane departed, heading to Newfoundland, Canada. At 9:04 a.m., that plane arrived at Newfoundland, Canada, where it refueled and they had another checkover of the aircraft. At 10:15, the plane took off down runway 22, reached a speed of 192 miles an hour. At 198 miles an hour, the plane started to descend, and it crashed by Gander Lake, killing all aboard the aircraft. 248 members of the United States Army plus the aircrew of the aircraft. I was stationed at Dover Air Force Base, Delaware during that time. They brought 248 caskets to Dover Air Force Base, Delaware, from that plane crash. Every one of those coffins covered with the American flag, the same flag that those charged and convicted attackers of the U.S. Capitol used to beat the Capitol Police during the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The same flag that Donald Trump stood up and saluted while they played a recording of the charged and convicted criminals that attacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, the ones that Trump called patriots. 248 flag-draped coffins in a maintenance hangar at Dover Air Force Base, Delaware. I saw so many tears that day from the family members of those soldiers, enough tears to fill a swimming pool. During that ceremony, I didn't hear nobody refer to any of those 248 soldiers that died in that plane crash as losers or suckers. Now here we got Donald Trump running for president again. He's already threatening that if he don't get reelected, there's going to be a bloodbath in this country. I don't know about y'all. I ain't ready for Donald Trump and no more of his mess. I can't tell you who to vote for. All I can tell you is get out there and vote. We don't need this knucklehead back in the White House. I don't think we can stand another term with Donald Trump. That's all I want to say. Peace.